Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Anna and I'm a little bit spooky, and today we are playing with the Rebel Rouge Labs Gods and Monsters palette, creating this look you see right here. But before we get into the look, I do want to go over some of the details and claims of this palette, so let's just go ahead and dive right on in. But before we do, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below, and follow me over on Instagram, trying to grow that platform. Alright, let's go ahead and get into this palette. Alright, we are talking about the Gods and Monsters palette today from Rebel Rouge Labs. This palette is inspired by Marie Antoinette, Lana Del Rey, a little bit of Gucci Met Gala vibes, some religious imagery. It is very pretty and very unique. I think the color story, one thing, is kind of perfect for this time of year. It really is fitting in with the trends and colors that we were seeing in fashion and in makeup right now. It is those colors but amped up just a little bit. This is probably by far, I would say, the most neutral palette, or the most muted palette that Rebel Rouge Labs has, and it's obviously not a neutral palette or that muted. It is just something about it is a little bit more toned down compared to the others, but you're getting so much vibrancy and beautifulness in this palette. Beautifulness, is that word? So much vibrancy and beauty in this palette. I am tickled with it. This is a look I created with it today, obviously, and I was very surprised by the vibrancy of these shades. They kind of give you vibes of being a little bit more pastel, but they are not. They are beautifully, vibrantly pigmented and very easy to work with. So let's go ahead and see what Rebel Rouge says about this palette. Sumptuous hues from the Chateau of Evil. This palette retails for $32.99 and is available on Etsy. I will have it linked below, and you do get 4, 8, 12 shades, and they are gorgeous. I just think they're so perfect for this time of year. This palette could definitely carry you into fall because it has that depth in there, and I do love that. This is just an all-around kind of gorgeous, very a unique color story to me. You glance at it, you think, I got shades like that. But when you go in and actually touch the shades and see how they go on and how they swatch and how they perform on the eye, you realize, no, I don't really have shades like that. This is something unique. I'm just gonna run through the shades real quick and give you a quick description of them from their Etsy store. You have Décolleté, Metallic Antique Ivory. You have Saint Honoré. I don't know how to pronounce that one. I don't speak French or Italian, so there's a couple of words in there I'm like, how do I say that? You have beautiful matte coral. To me, this is a very pinky, vibrant coral. It is gorgeous. You have Dauphine, which is a periwinkle matte, and it's very pretty. I think that would be such a gorgeous shade for all over the lid for like a monochromatic look, kind of similar to my Love Witch look I did the other day. Then you have Dark Paradise, which is a metallic denim. I love this one too. It's so stormy and smoky and just deep. Then you have Guillotine, which is a sequined rust. It does have small little gold micro glitters in it and is a rust color that kind of has a pink undertone to it. As you can see, it kind of like pulls a little pinky, and I think that makes it play really well with the coral shade in this palette. It can just add some depth to it, and then it can lend itself really well to the greens and the other tones when you build it up, because you do get a little more of the warmth from it. But there is at least in my palette, a bit of a pink undertone to this shade, which, looking at the shade in the palette, you don't think is going to happen. It's very unexpected, but was a pleasant surprise because I feel like it would play well more with the shades in the palette and gives a little bit more interest to the palette and to your looks. Next, you have Body Electric, which is a metallic lime. This shade is like a little bit more of a deeper lime. I wouldn't call it necessarily like a vibrant lime. It's just a really pretty metallic ivy green. That's what I would call it personally, an ivy green. And it is gorgeous. It's very vibrant and electric, as you can see on my lids. And I think Body Electric is a perfect way to describe this shade. The next shade you have is a matte peach that I cannot pronounce the name of. This one, it's a little bit warm, more browny than I would necessarily call a peach. I don't know. But this one's great for warming up a look and giving it just a little bit more of a warm undertone. It plays really well with Guillotine to pull out the warmth and redness of that shade and kind of tone down the pinkiness. And I think it's a very nice shade to have in this palette because it works so versatilely with the greens and the blues and the peaches. It's really easy to blend, gorgeous matte. Next, you have Grandeur, which is a matte olive. I love Grandeur. To me, it's just a beautiful, like, evergreen, gorgeous matte green, and not something I think I have in my collection is a matte green quite this shade, and it is beautiful. It performed great. It stayed vibrantly green on the eye. I could see it and could tell what it was on the eye, and it didn't kind of get lost in the look at all. You have Au revoir, which is a duochrome basil. That is a very perfect shade perfect shade description of this one. It is a duochrome basil. It is definitely kind of a basil tone. I don't really see a strong duochrome in it. It's me deepened forest green kind of basil shade, and I think I like that description of it being basil. And it's really pretty. I think maybe there's meant to be a bit of a flash in there, but I really can't see it. It's really just a metallic deep green to me, but still beautiful, performed well on the eye. Moving over, you have Game of Flats, which is a matte lilac. Gorgeous, gorgeous lilac. Again, this would be a great shade for a monochromatic all over the lid look. I might have to do that because I don't think I've ever done that with purple. Next, you have Macabre, which is a matte midnight blue. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous color. I love this kind of blue where it has that little bit of green in it and it's not such a cool tone blue. There's a bit of grunginess in it and depth while still being vibrant. It is very much a subculture-esque shade. I love it, and I'm looking forward to using it in a look. And lastly, you have Ultraviolets, described as a duochrome salmon. This one, again, I don't see too strong of a shift in it, but there is actually a shift where it goes from the salmony peach to a golden shift. Not the most unique shade in the world, but it is actually really pretty and fits well in this palette. I think it's really nice. So yeah, that is the shades within this palette, and it is formulated without parabens, mineral oil, dilates, triclosan, sodium lauryl sulfate, and gluten-free. I believe it is also cruelty-free. I believe I read that somewhere on here. Don't quote me. And it is handmade, so that is really cool. Again, Rebel Rouge Labs is an indie brand, and I think that they are a fantastic indie brand. They caught my attention, I think, a couple of years ago, honestly, or well, whenever the Suspended in Dusk palette launched, I immediately was drawn to them and was like, okay, I bookmarked it and I'm like, I'm gonna order. And finally, a few months ago, I was like, you know what? We're getting that Suspended Dust palette because it's back in stock, and we're getting the Prelude to Agony because it was the newest launch around Valentine's Day. And I fell in love with those two palettes and have since purchased the Losing My Religion palette and the Gods and Monsters palette. There'll be a video coming with Losing My Religion soon, but yeah, Gods and Monsters is a gorgeous, gorgeous palette. It is kind of a soft goth palette, if you will. You can get a little bit of grunge from it. It's described here as cottagecore. I could see that fitting in with that vibe. So I had no issues with the shades. I'm pretty familiar with their formula, but at this point, because I do own some other palettes from them, and this is on par. There's no real discrepancy within the quality whatsoever. It was a very easy, effortless palette to use, surprisingly. I know sometimes things can get a little dicey when you're using greens, and especially blending it into something that's kind of a almost corally pink looking. You expect things to get muddy, but it didn't happen. It just ended up looking really cool, and I'm very happy with that. This was a very easy look to do. I did not wet my brush. I used all the shades dry and just went right in, blended like a dream. It was just a very easy, lovely experience. And sometimes with using vibrant shades, that's not always the case. So I'm very happy with that. And I think the quality across the board for Rebel Rouge has been pretty damn good. I've enjoyed the previous palettes I have gotten from them, and this is no exception. I'm happy to own this palette. I really do like the theme of this palette. You've got that Lana Del Rey vibe in there, and I don't think I've ever really talked about it, but Lana Del Rey was my favorite musicians for quite a while. Her first 3 albums have a very, very special place, especially that first album. Special place in here, and the second album. The First Dance of My Wedding was Video Games by Lana Del Rey. I walked down the aisle to a string quartet version of Video Games. There's some very special songs from her, and so that was another kind of thing that drew me into this palette, or caught my attention when this palette was being teased. They're good at doing that to me because of the type of negative palette too. They know how to get me with the pop culture. They know me somehow. Anyway, there was also kind of some Met Gala Gucci vibes going on here, and the religious imagery, which I think is really cool. The Garden of Eden vibes with the snake, and it's just very pretty. You got the burning heart picture. I really love the aesthetic of this palette a lot. I think the colors are pretty. My eyeshadow actually come out matching it today. I like that their outer component is also a different image than what's on the inside. I think that is really, really fun, and I actually keep the outer components from their palettes because I think they're so pretty and sets of artwork basically to go with the palette. And I think their graphic designer does a great job of mixing that grunge vibe in and keeping the aesthetic of the brand consistent throughout and keeping their concept consistent throughout all the palettes while still having the palette have its own concept shine through. But everything is very cohesive, and I like that they use kind of a collage type of feel to everything. It just has a bit of a punk rock vibe. I really like that. I think it's very pretty. It's very eye-catching. They're fun to look at and just kind of pick out all the things. Like, of course, you got a cake right here next to Marie Antoinette. I think that this is just a really cool palette, and I've had a great time playing with it today. So yeah, I would recommend it. If these colors appeal to you and you like indie makeup, this is a great brand to look at. All that being said, let's get into a quick little demo of this palette and we'll wrap things up. So we are playing with the Rouge Labs Gods and Monsters palette. I'm excited about this one. It's so pretty. It's like so perfect for this time of year. It's kind of summer drama. Like, this is summer grunge. I thought today, instead of doing something soft and nice and monochromatic, which I will have a video using this palette, creating some looks like that, I wanted to just go full glam. So let's do that today. We're just gonna jump right in here. I feel like I've got hair on my face. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jump into this kind of a light mustard shade right here, kind of a creamsicle that's a little bit muted. We're gonna take that through the transition on a fluffy brush. I've already primed my eyes with my Sigma eye primer. A little bit of concealer around the brows just to carve them out, and a little bit of translucent powder to set everything down. So let's just bring this right through here. Ooh. Perfect, very light transition tone. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's very nice. It's the perfect shade for right there. Cool. And this is probably Rouge's most kind of muted palette. Like, it's not neutral, but it's probably their most muted out of all their palettes. They do very vibrant, fun, unique shades and very unique color stories within their collection. And I love how they theme everything out. They're very, very good at that. Let's maybe scale down a size in brush and go in with the shade Guillotine. Appears to be a matte with some golden sparkles, like micro sparkles in it. Very small, not like ColourPop glitters in their mattes. Like, these are teeny tiny, just little micro glitters. It's pretty in the pan. We're gonna take that a little bit lower into the transition now. Ooh, this kind of comes up a little bit pink. I like that. I like this pink undertone this has. A little bit more peachy. In the pan, it looks very like rust. That's quite unique. Definitely, I think, suits the vibe of the palette a little more. So I'm gonna try to build that up and see how it goes. It's very much more pinky red on the eye. Yeah, way more vibrant than I was anticipating, and I kind of like that a lot. That's gonna play well with these peaches in the palette to deepen them up some. I'm gonna take that first shade around here just to sure we have a nice blend. I like that. That's cool. It's very cool. Okay, this shade Guillotine does build up and you can get a little bit more rust from it. It just has a very kind of pinky red undertone to it when it blends out, which gives it very unique quality and can lend itself to a warm look as well. Like, I think the shade Ultraviolence would look so pretty with this. That would be a really nice look. Or this other little peachy tone. Oh, that would be pretty. So I'm gonna take the shade Grandeur now. I'm gonna start to build that right out here on this outer corner. Oh wow, look at that opacity. Dang. That is a beautiful forest green with a little bit of vibrancy to it. So it doesn't just look like dark nothing. You can actually tell it's green. Sometimes at forest greens, they can kind of look a little too blackened almost, like just a little too deep. This one's a true like evergreen green. I like that a lot. That's very pretty. And you can definitely tell that's what it is. Sometimes I feel like I go in with these dark matte greens and they just look like I'm going with an off black shade, you know? I'll let that marry into those other shades just a little bit, but not blend too far because it probably will get, I would anticipate getting muddy just between the shades. It's giving a little bit of depth on the outer corner, which I'm looking for. Now I'm going to take the shade Au revoir and we're going to put that on the outer corner as well, just a little bit further in maybe. I don't know. It's a really, really dark metallic green. I just kind of want to see what it'll do right here. It's not the ideal brush to apply it with. This one's more of a blackened olive shade, or forest green rather. So that's going to bring in a little bit more darkness and a little less of that vibrant green. Yeah. I just really wanted to use that shade. It's so pretty. So maybe we'll take a little more grandeur and kind of bounce between them. Yeah, see if I add grandeur back, we get a little more green. Yeah, that's neat. I like that. All right, let me grab a flat brush here. All my flat brushes are dirty. Here's one. All right, let's take Body Electric, and we're gonna put that on the inner part that's blank. Body Electric is such a good song, by the way. That's one of my favorite. I really like the album Ultraviolets a lot. Born to Die and Ultraviolets up to Honeymoon. It's Peak Lena. That is a beautiful, vibrant green. I love that. This color combination is like Poison Ivy. I'm loving it. Reminds me of like a Gucci perfume ad. Yeah, very Marie Antoinette. The inspiration in this palette really does come through in these shades. There's something a little bit 70s about it. A little retro, yet modern. It's beautiful. Very summertime feeling at the same time while still being dramatic and dark. I'm gonna take a little bit of Au Revoir. Right out here. Just let that blend in. Oh, so pretty. I'm in love. I was kind of questioning it just for a second there. I was like, oh, is this green gonna blend good with Guillotine? But it did. And okay, cool. Let's take a bit of Décolleté and put that on the inner corner. It's really nice champagne. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Pleasantly surprised at how pretty and easy this came together. Yeah. Cool. All right, I'm gonna do the other eye and I'm gonna be right back. So let's do the lower lash line real quick and finish this eye look up. I'm gonna take this little tiny smudger brush from Sonia Kashuk and we go straight into Grandeur. Grandeur. It's like I said, Grander. And I'm just gonna run that right along here, along this lower lash line. Very nice. Now let's take a little bit of Au Revoir. Just to make it match up to the upper. Cool. And I'm gonna take a little bit of Décolleté. This would be a really pretty face highlight, this color. We left out Body Electric. Let's take a little bit of Body Electric and put that more on this center. Okay, all right, and that is done. I'm just gonna take my little blending brush and just soften that out. All right, cool. I'm gonna do this on the other eye. Put on some liner mascara lashes and we'll be right back. Okay, and here's the look complete using the Gods and Monsters palette from Rebel Rouge Labs. I kind of love it. I think it came out really, really pretty. So on the lips is L'Oreal Color Riche Nude Intense in Nude Extreme. It's just a very kind of peachy tone. I thought it'd be really pretty with this look. So yeah, it definitely kind of matches that crease color. And I love that. I love a matchy-matchy look. But anyway, all the other products that I've used will be linked and listed down below as normal. But let's get back to this palette. Let's talk about it. Alright, so first impression here. And I'm familiar with the Rebel Rouge Labs formula at this point. I have their Suspended Dusk palette and I have the Prelude to Agony palette. Both I love and use pretty regularly. So I'm no stranger to their formula. So I've used today is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shades out of this palette. They all performed beautifully. The shade Guillotine's a little bit tricky because it does pull a very pink undertone when you blend it, but it can be built up to get the shade that is in the pan. But it's a little unexpected. It's not bad. It's pretty. It actually ties in, I think, a little bit better with the shades in the palette because there are some beautiful peaches in this palette and they're very vibrant peaches, and I think that is a really nice kind of shade to give a little depth with those. So I think that actually works to the palette's benefit, and I'm sure that's what they planned when they formulated the shade. The greens were beautiful. The shade Grandeur is gorgeous. I love it so much. It is just a very beautiful evergreen matte shade. And then Body Electric is absolutely vibrantly beautiful green. You can see it right here on my lid. And then Au Revoir is just a really pretty deep dark olive with a little bit of a coolness in it, I think. Yeah, it's just a very dark olive green metallic. And then you have the shade Dark Paradise that is kind of the counterpart to it in a blue tone, Stormy Blue. I think it's really pretty. You have Dauphine, which is a nice, a beautiful pastel-y kind of country blue shade down here. And I'm looking forward to doing a look with this. I kind of did a look similar to what I would have done with this the other day, which I will link on the screen, using the Prelude to Agony palette, kind of Love Witch inspired. And I think these two shades would be so pretty together, and like these two. But yeah, the peach in here is really pretty. It's a very vibrant pinky peach. And then you have a metallic fiery peach in the corner here. Oh, very pretty, very pretty. Everything is so pigmented and just smooth, blendable, easy. This look was incredibly easy to do. The quality is outstanding, so I think that's something that is worth noting, that the quality here is great. And the packaging is gorgeous as well. They are a cruelty-free brand. Let's see here. You have all the ingredients listed on the back, and I think the packaging is beautiful. It really captures the spirit of the palette, and I kind of match. The imagery is beautiful. It's kind of a lot of like religious imagery mixed in with the Lana Del Rey and Jared Leto hanging out at the Met Gala type of vibe. Yes, it's very like Met Gala inspired. I can't remember what year that was that they did the kind of religious icon theme or whatever it was, religious imagery theme. But yeah, it's very much, you can tell, inspired by that. A little bit of a kind of retro Gucci vibe going on here. Kind of a little bit of a hint of 70s. I think it's very pretty, kind of Botticelli, you know, Italian vibes going on here. A little bit of Italian, a little bit of French. And of course a little bit of a Marie Antoinette, a heavy Marie Antoinette influence in this palette as well, like the Sofia Coppola movie, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. I saw a meme the other day was when about when Hong Kong Garden by Susie the Banshee starts playing, and it's like, yeah, the feeling you get when that intro starts in the movie. That movie has a beautiful soundtrack, by the way, and it's a beautiful movie just all around. Is it historically accurate? I don't know, but I love that movie. I just like everything about this palette. I think it's a perfect kind of spring, summer palette with some interest to it. It's a little bit fun, a little bit adventurous. It's not your typical boring spring light tones and softness, or spring summer rather. It's fun. You've got some elements of some grungy glam in here, some color. You can definitely experiment, do some beautiful monochromatic looks with this. And I just think it fits the vibes right now. It's taking the trends right now in the makeup community with these kind of tones, but just amping them up a little more, giving it a little more vibrancy, a little more fun. And it can really appeal to somebody who likes a little more color. This is the most muted palette I think Rebel Rouge has, and that being said, this being their most muted, it's still vibrant and pretty and just eye-catching. It is very eye-catching. So yeah, my final verdict is this is a beautiful palette. I will be doing more looks coming soon because I really like these colors. And yeah, that is all for today. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye now.